This is World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with your host, Carl Gruber. World Awakenings is a podcast dedicated to opening your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how they play an all-important role in our daily life. So join Carl on this enlightening experience as he interviews metaphysical and spiritual experts to discuss, debate, and delve deeply into the hows and whys of this worldwide awakening.
You've seen and read my 3 Pillars ebook, and now I'm proud to announce my new book, True Spirituality and the Law of Attraction, a beautiful symbiotic relationship, and it's now out and ready for reading. This new book of mine is a full-length version of the teachings of the 3 Pillars, and in it I show you how to walk in the integrity of eternal universal laws, in step with the law of attraction to consistently create the life you desire. Now, if you've ever wondered just why you can't consistently manifest all the good, loving, abundant, healthy, and happy things you desire, my new book, True Spirituality and the Law of Attraction, will reveal the key in how to do just that. Plus, help you build a rock-solid personal foundation that will stand strong for the ages. Get your copy today. My new book, True Spirituality and the Law of Attraction, a beautiful symbiotic relationship by Carl Gruber. Available now in ebook and paperback on Amazon.com. Hey everyone, welcome once again to this show called World Awakenings, a fast track to enlightenment. I'm your host, Carl Gruber. It's given me the most incredible and wonderful opportunities to meet with and speak one-on-one with some of the world's greatest teachers, spiritual masters, mystics, mediums, channels, and experts in all things spiritual, enlightening, and metaphysical. It is so cool. And I am so grateful that you are here now to take this ride with me as we dive deep into these topics. So with that, let's get started right now with episode number 181 right here on World Awakenings. And today we meet a woman known as the Love Messenger, Ann Jonas. Ann states that her journey has been that of the Lotus with plenty of mud. She also says that her desire is to support the soul human beings in the unveiling of the higher self and allowing spirit to bring abundant happiness and love. And there's so much more added to that. So with that, I'm looking forward to finding out more. Welcome to the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Carl. I'm so excited to be here. I love the way that you hold space and the way that your energy and your humor and your love for life shines through this show.
Wow, man, you already saw right through my aura and everything. Oh, this is great. I'm looking forward to this. Like I said, I was telling people, you have a lot of things to offer. Your story is really interesting. Tell us about being a lotus with plenty of mud and what you call this beautiful mess of a life. How did you end up becoming someone known as the Love Messenger?
Yeah, well, I know we only have a small container of time, so I'm going to do this in the Cliff Notes version way. Mud, in essence, are the opportunities of our life, the events, the experiences. And the lotus, the no mud, no lotus from Thich Nhat Hanh, that concept means that to blossom fully as a lotus, you live in the mud. The mud is the nourishment. When we all acknowledge that, we all live on a lotus path life. We all walk through muddy experiences. And we don't compare tragedies either. The idea is that we all have the tragedies, the experiences, the life paths that all of us have called in. And that's another little bit of a conversation. The idea, though, is that everything truly is serving.
Mm-hmm.
When we acknowledge that this is a life of learning, evolution, and growth, and that's the reason that we're here as a human on the planet, we're spiritual being having a human experience. In that space, I've had some crazy human experiences. And these are the ways that I have acknowledged my spiritual path. And I'm going to say them briefly. And I desire that as you hear my words, you recognize that these are experiences that served me along my spiritual path, and I'm grateful for them. Yes, I am grateful for these Lotus Path mud experiences. And I'll say, first of all, my parents were divorced when I was 11. That had its own trauma and its own journey. And there are a lot of pieces in that whole childhood story. But then when I was 36, 25 years later, my dad showed up at my mom's house, the one I grew up in, and he basically shot and killed her. And that was the end of my mother's life. It was the end of my life, my relationship with my father. But 18 months later, he also left the planet. And so both of them, and that was 19 years ago. And that, in essence, was a beginning for me. And what happened in that realm, 2 years later, I met the person who I was to marry, who I have a child with. And she left the planet after a melanoma cancer journey. So she left me as a widow. And so these are pieces that were not easy. I'm not going to say that I, danced through these events. What I'm saying is that I see them as the opportunities for me to learn about me. And that's what we're here to do. And we're all here as expressions of a higher consciousness with a soul path and a purpose. And that is as an expression of the divine. And you can call it God or goddess or energy or mystery or, nada, whatever you decide you want to have a relationship. This is this idea of world awakenings, right, Carl? Is to be in the Course in Miracles, in that deep recognition. My book is Sacred Connection back here. I'm pointing here if you see me live. That is my signature, has become my signature program. I moved from California to Idaho 16 months ago. And many, many, many things transpired along my journey. One of them being willing to surrender and allow the Lotus path for Ann Jonas to become a God-led way of living, and to allow the synchronicities and the divine timing and the opportunities to be the lessons in and of themselves, and to piece it all together and to weave the web and to say yes, 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 yes to life. Okay, I'll stop there.
No, beautiful setup there. But if you're living this life in this 3D world of form, I mean, we all have all kinds of mud on us. My life has been basically. I'm so fortunate looking back. I didn't realize a lot of people don't have a life like this, trauma-free, and peaceful and healthy. But believe me, I still have a lot of mud. I got to buy extra detergent to get it off. So it is amazing. But you're talking about everything. Being a student of A Course in Miracles, one of the beautiful lines in the course is everything is a lesson God would have you learn. And you have adopted that path. Is that basically what the walking the way of the lotus is, that the way you talk about it?
Yes. I heard an equation originally, I believe, by Jack Canfield, and it's E plus R equals O. Here's the deal. The events or the experiences in our life plus the reaction or the responses equals the outcome, the O. Here's the thing. The event's gone. It's gone. It's in the past. Mm-hmm. And the essence is what we walk in is the story of how we navigated it. Do we feel disempowered? Do we feel empowered? Do we feel that we've grown from it? Do we feel that we're held back or victimized by it? All of these are the way that we're handling, so to speak, as we navigate, as we work with this experience. This is a life that is intended to be in the now moment.
Mm-hmm.
When we're here now, this is a fun game. N-O-W. If you flip it, it's W-O-N. When you're here now, you've won. Like, you're not battling anything at that point. You're in the oneness. There's the next one, O-N-E. You've won. You're one with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 1-1. Aha! It's not an emergency though. 911.
Oh, I like it.
You said you wanted to have fun, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I crack myself up, so that's an entertaining part.
That's great. But, it's interesting, everything that if we study all of this spiritual stuff, we understand there's only now. And I think other than spiritual mystics and teachers over the millennia were the only ones who are conscious of that in the 20th and 21st century. That was actually brought to the forefront of the public through Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I said, in the modern world, well, we've got Eckhart, and I believe, in essence, the design of what we're holding, what you're holding, Carl, what you have aligned with, who you are aligned with, all of that information is available. It's available. It's available to every single human. Here's the deal. I mean, we come into this life and we have immediate amnesia. Instant, right? We instantly forget everything. I mean, from a quantum concept, it's not possible. It is not possible to be in this human body and know with the absolute knowingness of all that is, right? I mean, the amount of light that we exude as spirit. So that's part of the journey, is acknowledging that we condensed our light. We came into a human form. We forgot everything that we designed to set up here. And then we had all this life that has created more and more density. How do we get out of that? We have to find the light again.
Mm-hmm.
We have to remember. That's what the Lotus path, that's the love messenger. Remembering that we are love. That's the essence of who we are. Love and light. And we can do no wrong. I mean, that's a tough one. That's a whole other probably show. But the idea of, we can do no wrong. That's a concept.
And we're talking about there's only the now moment. Of Course in Miracles calls it the holy instant. And that time is an illusion. And I think here this weekend in the section of the United States I'm in, they're moving the clocks back an hour. And which is interesting because time is a concept. It's not something you can grab on to. And here, this is the arrogance of man. Well, let's take this concept and turn time back 1 hour. Oh, was there a big wheel that you turned or something? It's just so ludicrous that man, well, we can change the time, but how? Well, we just said so. So there it is. What?
I'm tearing up with laughter. I wrote in my newsletter back in, what was it, March, when we did this the first time? I mean, not the first time, but the first time in the year, when we arbitrarily change time. How can we say that time is anything if we just decide we're going to change it? That's so true. And this is where the concept of humanity or human and energy or God, right? Like there is no time, which means that's why we can move it arbitrarily, because it doesn't really exist. Right. Even though we have a leap year, like whoever organized the calendar was like, oops, we forgot a day. Let's throw it in. Or it's, what it is, it's actually 365 and a quarter. So let's throw it in every 4 years. I mean, these are other things around time and cycles.
Yeah, I never thought of that, but wow, this is fun already. But you do so many interesting things. You also offer transformational and perspective guidance as a shamanic guide, intuitive healer, body worker, channel speaker, workshop facilitator, producer. You're an author. But I'm really curious about you being a shamanic guide. How did that come about?
Honestly, it came in essence. Well, I will say, let me back up. And these are, in the realm of words and language and spells, you call it about the law of attraction, right? That's all about language, out of mind, out of sight. If we can't conceive of it, we're not going to see it. And then our thoughts are going to create the words that are going to create manifesting. I have a new word. It's not manifesting, it's I-festing. If you aren't involved in it as the I, it's not going to fest. That's my new thing. I'm working that one out.
Oh,
Here's the thing. Do you like that, Carl?
I do. You crack me up.
Okay. The idea here of this law of attraction, the essence of time, the beingness, and I lost my train of thought. Bring me back.
We were talking, I was finding out how you came about being a shamanic guide.
Yes, that's right. The shamanic piece. Okay, thank you. In my past, so in my early 20s, let me start there. In my early 20s, I was taking my college classes, that composition paper where you can write about anything that you can research on. And for those of you that are not of this age bracket, like this is where you go to the card catalog, you pull out a drawer and you look at pieces of paper, and that's where you find the books. Dewey Decimal System. I went Dewey Decimaling witch and witchcraft, because that's what I wanted to write about. It wasn't the witches of the princess stories that I knew of. It was a deeper, what is magic? And it led me actually to becoming a birth doula, because it led me to many of the witches that were burned were midwives, were herbalists, were women that were working with the earth. This is in my early 20s. I did work as a birth doula for 12 years. And all along this journey, I've stood as a witch. I'm a witch. And I am with magic. And magic is the manipulation of energy. And so then over time, I was aware of the shamanic beingness, the unseen worlds, the level of knowing where you consider yourself a hollow bone, where you're allowing information to come through. So as being an intuitive person and coming now at this point in my life to also knowing I am a channel, all these pieces came together. And that's where the shaman came from. And then the desire was, well, how do I become understood as a shamanic practitioner? And I took 2 levels of training and learned how to journey and learned how to deepen into what was already present for me, which is what happened all along the way, from doing body work to doula work to coaching work. I have been gifted with an inner knowing that I've played with and then offered. And that's been my repeating journey of the Lotus as well. The Lotus touch, the Lotus coach, and the Lotus path have been all aspects of the business or the work. The work, though, is right here. Everybody's inner work. I don't care what your job is. I don't care like what kind of family you have to take care of. Like, this is it. Are you familiar with The Invitation by Uriah Mountain Dreamer?
I am not.
Oriah. It's a book, but you can just look it up, The Invitation. And the whole concept is it really doesn't matter how you describe your life, your human life. What are you willing to do? How are you willing to be against all odds, so to speak? Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's that's where the shamanic desire, and then again, really drop. And it does also infuse the move to Idaho, coming from California, which is very saturated, and there's beautiful, beautiful places in California, but there's a lot there in the density. And so Idaho earth is open, and the sky is nothing like Idaho sky. So anyway, I mean, at least so far in my journey northward.
Well, I heard you say that you're a channel. So I've had a lot of channels on this show, and I will have more. Who or what do you channel?
Yeah, great question. I love that. And it's funny, I was listening to a show and somebody talking about not channeling anything specific. And then I have not awareness. My first concept of channel was Abraham.
Yes.
Most of us would know Esther. And
Mhm.
then, heard about Seth and Bashar. And then I met Lee. I mean, I actually did meet him in person and I got to hug him, Lee Harris. It was like so amazing at the Soul Magic event in Santa Fe this summer. He's an intuitive channel and healer as well. I have always channeled information, but not really understood. Uh, People, I would put my hands on somebody, like, hey, massage my back. And they'd be like, oh, you know exactly where to go. I would always say things that people needed to hear. And it wasn't like I had planned it. It was like, this was that intuitive information channeling through me. So here I am, and probably, in the last 10 years or so, that it's been more dominant and predominant, meaning that like more comes through. And then when I sit here and I I try to deny it, I get all kinds of like, admonition, like, no, like, this is real. So I've tested it. Like I've tested my own, like, is this true? Like I'm making this up. I'm a fraud. This has been part of my dance.
Mhm.
Like, this is not real. I'm a fraud. And yet what I've learned is that that is not a true statement. And it's about being in my true essence is the most aligned way. So here I am. Okay. Lotus, right? We got the Lotus situation. Let me back up now. 20 years ago, I wanted a tattoo for my backside. I thought it was cute and I wanted something there and I wanted it to be spiritual in nature. And I was in my dear friend's healing room. She was on a melanoma journey and I wanted a spiritual image. And through this tiny little stained glass of just geometry and color comes the words Lotus, Lotus flower. And I was like, oh, cool. So that's the whole thing. So I got this is the artist actually that did the tattoo, or that, I used for the tattoo, and it infused everything, as I've already spoken into. Okay. Last year, through some work, some deepening work, some channeling work of my own, I got a message that I channel a team called Lot Us. Get it? Lotus.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
They said that, but I didn't hear Lot Us. I heard Lotus, right? Lotus, Lotus flower. I wasn't ready 21 years ago for a team of guides to say, we're here, you're going to channel us. But that's who it is. They're Lot Us, and they're a team, and there's 11 of them. There's 111. There's 1111. They're in that vibration of that 1111 frequency. And this is a new piece for me. Like I've had people say, well, will you channel for me? And that's happened once. And I've started channeling on the webinar that I offer, the Sacred Connection, when I'm a host. I do channeling that way. So Lot Us has absolutely come through me. And I am an intuitive as Anne, as the love messenger, as my higher self, and as Lot S. Does that make sense? Do you see those different layers I spoke to?
Sure.
Yeah. And we all are channels. We are a channel. Like we have the energy centers, the chakra centers. We have a soul. We're human. I mean, we all have the ability to be tapped in, tuned in, and turned on, Abraham's words, and aware of our deep inner knowing. We all have access to it. It's about allowing.
While I'm sitting there, I might say, if they're listening, hey, Lot Us, if you would like to come through and talk to us right now, ta-da, here we are. But I'm not going to put you on.
No, I mean that I don't know if you can see my face. Like that's a flooding of energy of yes, absolutely. They are always happy to come and be a part of the show because I'm the Ann show.
Uh, well, do they want to say anything to us?
Yeah, yes, they do. I'm gonna sit here for a minute and close my eyes. This has been the easiest way to let them drop in and yes, we are so excited. Lot us. We are a team that has been in this field of the human Ann Jonas. We are a part of the offering of the love messenger. It's our greatest joy to witness the human condition that is about journey. It is about evolution. It is about growth. There is no way to escape the human experience as a human being. It is merely the offering of continuing the expression of your essence and desire. We like to repeat that. It is merely the opportunity of continuing the essence of your desire. Desire is what brought you to this planet, and desire is what continues to infuse your choices. All of your experience as human beings is surrounded by choice. Choice to be here, choice to breathe here, choice to live. That seems appropriate for this message today here. Thank you for inviting us to join.
Wisdom of the infinite. Thank you, lot us. Beautiful, beautiful words. Yeah, excellent. You are the love messenger.
I'm grateful. I've been writing dreams for a long time, and the number one dream is that all beings know love. And that wasn't necessarily directed by me. And what I feel in my desire and in the essence of who I am is that the love messenger will be known by many. And then that means that all beings know love, because then they'll know me, because it's all about me.
Wow.
And we're back to that.
We sure need that now. I will tell you more than ever. So we are talking to the amazing Ann Jonas. It is phenomenal. She walks the way of the Lotus with lots of mud and the love messenger. But I want you to tell us about the book that you're one of the authors in, the Sacred Connection. How did that come about, and what's its main theme?
Yeah, awesome. Yes, I will back up a little bit because this does really infuse part of the story. So when I was in California at a point in my life where I didn't know what was coming, everything, the COVID experience had wiped it all out. Many of you have that reflection of whatever work you were doing, everything changed. I was doing a lot of in-person work. Had done the shamanic training, but I hadn't stepped into doing anything with it. And it was the middle of the day, and I was feeling totally like I was wasting my time, and I had no vision for the future. And in that moment, I said, well, I'm going to ask for something to come in my dreams. Like, come give me a message when I go to sleep tonight. And nothing happened that night, but I was willing to do it again. So night 2, I got a download. I got what I'm calling a download. And it ended up being something I wrote, like a 2,500 word email, and that I was going to offer Sacred Connection, a 9-week webinar, how we connect to ourself and the divine. I'd never done anything of that nature. I had done like 1-day workshops. I'd done in-person retreats. I'd done evening workshops, one-on-one work, but this was something, and I'd done speaking, but this was something I hadn't cultivated before. So I brought in 8 co-hosts. So round 1 we did in October of 22. We just finished round 8 on 10/10. We actually started round 8 on 8/8 and ended it on 10/10. So much magic. Round 9 is coming in January. Here's the thing, that essence of how we connect to ourselves and the divine, I was introduced by actually Anastasia, my podcast booking agent, to my publisher. And she does anthologies. And so we took the concept of Sacred Connection and we made an anthology. There's 7 chapters, mine is one of them. And it's about finding our path, deepening our relationship with ourself and the divine. That's the essence of everything that I'm here to offer. We are an expression of God. You are. I am. You get to decide how you're going to see yourself when you look in the mirror. And that's a big part of this. And we're not alone. And, this is, I thought about this. I had 40 years of tools and techniques at this point when I was like lying around, like fumbling. Why am I not using any of these things? And that's what Sacred Connection is. It's an opportunity. Is that your kitty visiting? In Sacred Connection?
Her name is Maya, and it's Hindu for illusion. So I imagine I have a 14-pound cat.
That's awesome. Yes. So that's it. So basically, what the experience of Sacred Connection was a gift for me to have an offering, and a whole community has built around it. I have a Sacred Connection community membership. I'm in the midst of building a new website, and part of why I love being in front of your audience, Carl, awakened beings that are seeking to have more yes, more love, more light. This is why I love connecting, is to be able to offer that.
And that's such a beautiful description. Yes, awakened or awakening beings, and more people in the world are awakening. But what a great concept of your book, Sacred Connection, your website. Now, I did read a section of your book, and you say that there are two basic aspects to life: basic purpose and basic truth. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So that idea of a basic purpose is our soul being has a design. It is a design. If anybody's familiar with, I'm sure you are, Carl, the Akashic Records.
Oh, yeah.
That is that's a container for all of our lives, whether they're, human on earth or other dimensions. This is only one piece. There was a design. We have a design for how we decided to incarnate. It's not an accident. Either we come in to have our own personal evolution, or we do volunteer. There's a concept of volunteering to be incarnated to serve others, the collective or individuals. That is the purpose. The truth is that we are one. The truth is that all is the universe. The truth is that everything is energy. The truth is that everything is love. We are holding in this container of our purpose to be human and the truth of all that is in a dance, constantly going back and forth, because there's a veil. The veil keeps us from remembering those things. And so the idea then is, when we are willing to look through the veil, to trust in things that we can't see or touch, that is an opening in and of itself. I mean, here's the deal, you guys. Anybody watch Star Trek, Star Wars? It's really Star Trek. The holodeck. You go in there, you put in some digits, you turn around, and a whole world is there. And you could die in that world, right? You can get hurt in that world. And as soon as you cut off the room, you're back to being the normal being that you were on Starship Enterprise. Well, that's true here on a much larger, more expanded scale. But the idea is, you plugged in some coding, ended up as you. That's, us was talking about choice. It starts at the beginning. Who do you choose to be as a human based on your soul's purpose?
Mm-hmm.
The human helps the soul achieve its goal. Oh, I like that. I'm going to write that one down.
I like it too. Yeah. Well, it's interesting when you're talking about a holographic type of thing, that, the spiritual teachers for all of history have spoken about the oneness of all that is, and which is holographic. And now the quantum physicists have proven that everything is holographic, where the seemingly individual part is actually an integral part of the whole. If you take a picture of an apple and with a holographic picture and you slice it up, it'll always go back and show the entire apple. You have this little tiny part. And that is one of the key teachings, I think, anybody who wants to become a spiritual student and understand that is to understand, the parts are actually the whole. We're all one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. The parts are the whole. And everything. So here's another piece to play in. And I love bringing in the four agreements. You're familiar with Don Miguel Ruiz and the Toltec wisdom? Okay. I mean, they're foundational for me, really, as a human. That's how I hold my human container, is under the four agreements. And if you're not familiar, four things, go check them out. They're a way to live. But here's the deal. Don't make assumptions like, that's so hard. It's so easy, right? We love to assume things. And then we get to make a out of you and me, right? I don't know where we are on that whole, that word situation here, but we'll go with that. So, assumptions. Don't take things personally. Isn't that one hard, right? Everything's personal. Everything's personal. Okay. Always do your best. Okay. That seems like it would be simple. And, sometimes our best is very little. If we're willing to say, I'm doing my best. And then the fourth agreement, be impeccable with your word. What does that mean? It talks about speak from your heart. We're back to truth. Speak your truth. Come from your heart. As we navigate these things in the human container, we are the soul. S-O-L-E. S-O-L-E. We're the sole actor in our life. We're number one. We are the main. You are. I've been referencing the Ann show. I know there's a Carl show. Everybody's got a show. Here's the deal. We all have a show. And everybody that plays in our life, our parents, our children, fur babies, the animals, the plants, the homes, the jobs, the colleagues, the neighbors, they all are your supporting actor. They all support your journey. And you and we support everybody else's. We were talking about webs, right? We're talking about holograms. We're talking about oneness. We're talking about parts. We don't live isolated. Energetically, it's impossible because we're part of the one. That also means this is another part of life that gets really caught for people. It's a mirror, right? Everything's a mirror. Everything's a mirror. And here's the beauty. That mirror shows you your greatness. It shows you how amazing you are. When you see somebody doing an amazing thing, that means you have that within you. It's either there and you love that about you. Maybe it's not there yet. Maybe you desire for it to be there. But the trick of that is you can get very annoyed with somebody when you're not doing what they're doing, when you're really not living your purpose. And I have some very personal experiences of that. I will admit, as a human, that I've judged other amazing people for being amazing when I was not amazing yet. I'm amazing now.
Yeah. But in truth, you've always been amazing. You just forgot.
Yeah. And that's the statement for every one of us. We're all amazing on our own journey. I love, Carl, that you said, I haven't had any traumatic things in my human, right? In the family dynamic and, the things I spoke about. And that's really important. And I said it in the beginning, we don't compare tragedies, but you've had your things, you've had your upsets, your challenges, your medicine. I say we receive many gifts in this lifetime. Most of them are coming in ugly packaging, people. Most. You mean packages that don't look pretty, they have bad bows, they're torn, and you open them and then it's even uglier inside. But guess what? Your gift of growth. Gifts of growth.
You kind of touched on this already about your higher self and unveiling. How does one unveil their higher self?
Listening. witnessing. You know, life is full of synchronicities. They are everywhere. They are God's gift of the show. When you start seeing the things that come together in your life, when you make meaning out of your life, when you see it as a journey that's serving you, that is the first moment where you begin to remove that veil. As transformational guidance, that's what I am. I am transformational guidance. I am sacred connection. Hear the words, like there is no done. You know, sacred connections, no, it's all one, right? It's all one connection. So we make many connections in our sacred connection. We are constantly on a journey of growth. That is the point. It's a spiritual journey. It's a human journey. I like life. Stairway to Heaven. I loved how Led Zeppelin gave us that. Or Staircase to Death. You decide. Your heaven, your hell. You've heard this from a million places other than the Judeo-Christian model. You create your heaven, your hell, right? Right here on earth. That's a living experience. But those steps are real. There's parts of your life that feel good, right? You're good, like the good relationship, the good job, like things are good, you know, we're moving along. And then all of a sudden you hit that point and it's like, you know, like, well, where are you? You're at the climb to the next step, right? Like you are at the wall. And what do you do there? You cling and you slip and you slide and you do these things. This is the human journey. This is the Lotus path. Keep remembering to be here now.
Yeah.
To trust, right? That's how we have access to be able to be aware of the veil and then to begin to have it thin.
You know, you mentioned the Judeo-Christian world. What's the difference between spirituality and religion anyway?
I love that question. It's one of my favorites. Okay, this is how I see it. Two concepts. First of all, we've talked a little bit about dimensions, right? We have this third dimensional container of Earth. We have other dimensions. For my understanding, how I see this, so God, if we say that God is part of this whole journey, the universe, offers teachers to the human beings. Those are the prophets, the teachers that have made up this progressive revelation. Zoroastrian, Buddha, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, Baha'u'llah, the Baha'i faith. We have lots of them here on the planet. The message, it's all the same. And if any of you have studied anything about like the comparative religion concept, the core is the same. And there are three beautiful things I love about religion. They provide community. They provide a way to connect with other like-minded people. In that, they provide a structure or a way to live, like a code of ethics. And we're not judging. We're neutral here about whether or not it's a good community or bad structure. We're talking about what religion provides as a container. And then it provides a way or a means to access God, to have that relationship. Those three things are beautiful. What happens to them by the human condition adds the fear, the dogma, and the punitive, which is why people tend to tell me, or you hear, I hate religion. That's why. It's that piece, not the core of the God. My God, the God I'm in relationship with, who is not this model. And I say Judeo-Christian, raised as a Jew, living in America, that's a model of what God is. My God is love. We've already spoken about my relationship with God. That is the God that I'm in relationship with which is energy. God is energy. God is love. God is oneness. Human beings have a different way of learning. There's a special way that humans are here to learn. And these containers, the matrix, the hologram, all these teachings are a part of that. So spirituality is all the good. of the God. It's the connection. It's the oneness. It's the expression of divinity. How's that?
I like that. The good of God. I think that's that summarizes it beautifully. But you all also speak of something called the veil. The valley of vulnerability. What is that?
Oh, that was a fun thing to have show up in a conversation one day. This is what I realized. I was listening to my friend talk about a struggle in a relationship. And what I was picturing was the two of them on the top of a mountain, like rah, 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 back and forth. And then in the middle was a third person in this dynamic. And this person down here was getting all of that stuff up here. Okay. So that was the vision in my mind. And I realized that when we stand on a precipice, right, which is our point, which is our purpose, I mean, we're not going to use that word. We're going to talk about our forcing. Like we have a force. We have a way that we want our voice to be heard. And we're not willing to back down. We are standing on a teeny thing that also is not very stable. Think about the top of a mountain. It's a point. So you're on a point, somebody else on a point, and you're screaming over a whole open space. Okay. None of that's going to be effective. And it's going to rain down yucky everywhere. When we're willing to come down from that mountain, from the top of the mountain, we're at the base of the mountain, which means we can lean back and we've got, all this back to the shamanic qualities. We got the earth, we got the foundation, we got the base right there with us. And then we're here and we're closer. We have chosen, that's a choice, to come down into the valley. It's one of those tongue twisters, down into the valley of vulnerability, to face the mirror closer and to be willing to speak truth, heart-centered truth. If you don't want to do that, you're going to stay up here. Now, somebody else could come down here. You could be in a relationship and you're down here and they're up there. Well, you know what's going to happen there. This might mean that the relationship is showing you that you're not in alignment anymore. The valley of vulnerability shows us so many things. It shows us who we are. It shows us who we're playing with. It shows us what we're capable of. It shows us where we're resisting. And again, it's a choice to be really present with self and feel. We don't do a lot of feeling on this planet, right? We do a lot of thinking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I got to write that one line down. You said it's raining down yucky. That's a good one.
That's the clean version. That's the clean version. Yes, I can do it. There were some people that was like, how are you going to be able to do podcasts with your vocabulary? And I'm like, I've got a fabulous vocabulary.
Yeah.
But yes, it is fun.
Or you could say when the poop hits the fan or something like that, right?
Exactly. We can talk. I talk about poo days all the time. Poo's a great word. It's a usable word.
In all the stuff I was reading about you before we came on here, many of my guests here on this show speak about the new Earth and humanity morphing from the 3D to the 5D. When and how do you see this happening?
It's now. It's happening right now. Essentially, all the dimensions have always been here. All the dimensions exist. Let's do a little visual. Even though you can't see me, imagine in your mind a spiral continuing to spiral around, and you're in the center point of it. All the dimensions are essentially stacked on top of each other. We really only have access to 1, 2, and 3 consciously here on Earth. Yet 4, 5, 9 to 12, there's a lot of conversation about how many different dimensional beings are here on the planet, some in human form, some in energetic form, ascended masters. So Earth has the capacity to hold many dimensions, but not necessarily in Earth's field. Okay, so let's just put that aside for now. As an evolution, as humanity, and we can even look at the last chunks of 2000 years, the Piscean age, the time of the Israelites, and then into the Christian, and now we're into the Aquarian age. If you look at it astrologically, and I'm not a big astrological person, I witness what people talk about, but when you start matching all these different ways of knowing, I mean, you talk about Course in Miracles, you talk about The Secret, we're all saying the same thing, right? We're basically saying the same thing with different word choices, different language, but we all have the essence. So the fourth dimension often is considered a bridge. It's an access point. But let me give you something hard and fast to understand 3D versus 5D, okay? 3D is about polarity. It's the human condition. It's the earth that has poles, north and south. It has night and day. Like, this is inherent in earth. It's not necessarily a universal, right? Because we've already talked about it. There's no time universally. So this is all about the time. 3D is about duality, polarity. And there's a lot of that, B-U-T, or things like that, language like that, okay? Exclusivity, separation. The 5D energy is about oneness, and it's about inclusivity. It's about love. Third dimensional can be about fear. So these are some basic ways to qualify a third dimensional versus a fifth dimensional way of being. And like I said, all the dimensions are here. Now, New Earth, Blessed Gaia, there's a lot of different ways to see that. Some see it as an energy, some see it as its own planet that we will actually go to sleep, go through a portal and wake up and be there. I love that idea. Brand new house, brand new situation. I've also been reading this book, Anna, Grandmother of Jesus. Are you familiar with that book?
I am not.
Well, that's who she is. Anna, Grandmother of Jesus, Mary's mom. And she lived 600 years. And this book talks a lot about what the human experience is. And so this body is only a form, but it's created by the essence of our soul. And so our life is, we talk about, I don't use the word disease. I use the word dis-ease, dis-ease. Like, you can't use coincidence in my world. It's a synchronicity, but you can say co-incident, right? That gives you some empowerment around that, some awareness, some cognition that two things happened and you're aware of that. I don't use the word want. I don't use the word hope. I don't use the word just. All of these words offer a diminishing to our experience. And so those, again, are the fifth dimensional way of being is about expansion and oneness and connection, ease and love. And third dimension is earth. It's this reality. It's the containers of education, government, medicine, and religion. Those are pillars here in earth. And it's been since the time of Babylon. We've got Lemurians and we got all kinds of stories of Atlanteans, the different beings and races and times on our planet. We're here at a very special time right now where we're literally shifting to another consciousness.
And I really wanted to jump in there and say, absolutely. I mean, this is such a unique time to be alive on Earth. And I've had master teachers and ascended masters that I've talked to through channels here say that we all chose to live this lifetime during this time as part of our spiritual awakening journey. And didn't say it was going to be easy, But and speaking of that, I'm going to wind up here a little bit. We're talking to incredible, the messenger of love, Ann Jonas. That is fantastic. But I really want to ask you this. Right now, the world and especially the United States are in a state of chaos and fear, especially now that the U.S. presidential election is right around the corner. How can people right now bring more peace and love and less fear into their own lives? Right now, we need it.
It's interesting. I'm wearing something that has blue and red on it, and it's kind of funny. It's not that I chose that intentionally, but I did think about it in the realm of, and today is Halloween or Samhain or All Fallows Eve, wherever you want to be. I know that this is not when we're live. Why I'm saying it, why are we talking about this, Carl? Because this is energy, right? This is what's in the field in this now moment. And the truth is that everything that's in the field in this now moment will always be, and everything always has been. So we can be tapping into energies sort of past and future all the time in our personal life, in the global experience. Oh, it's so important to be with self. And it's so hard to do because of the way that we receive information on this planet. And that's it's the most important thing. It's the greatest gift that one can give ourselves, which is to unplug a bit. Now, I'm not saying go dumb. I'm not saying just like leave the whole experience. What I'm witnessing is, separation, and most of us are. And this is also, we've already said this is a time of evolution. Well, evolution begins with deconstruction. It's a part of the journey. Accepting what you said, Carl, we chose this. Remembering, accepting that we have a role to play, and that we always have an opportunity to be witnessing and up-leveling, witnessing everything that you be is reflected. Here's a great example. And here's the thing. You get to be, if you choose this path, this means that yes, you're responsible. Yes, you're responsible for your life. Back to the 4 agreements, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't hurt anybody else. You can't be hurt by anybody because your decision, you can't be healed by anybody. You choose to heal yourself. When we really fully stand that this is my life, I've chosen it, it's my purpose, I'm accountable, I'm responsible, then all of this stuff on the outside is noise. It's noise. And we are in a state of divisiveness. And the truth is, and many have spoken this, regardless of the outcome, people are going to be unhappy. And we're going to move forward. This is a step. Remember, we talked about that staircase. This is a step in the journey of America, in the journey of human evolution, in the journey of Earth. We know we're not alone. The rest of the country is aware of every election, unless they don't have a TV or internet.
Yeah. I'm kind of unplugged because I have a flat screen TV that hasn't been hooked up in years. But I'm not unaware. I have the internet, so I know exactly what's going on. But unplugging is good. And I just want to say, honestly, after our conversation, you really are doing a fantastic job of living your higher purpose as the love messenger, and we need it so much. And it looks like you washed most of the mud off too.
Here's the thing. I've washed the mud off from those experiences, but there's more mud. There's always more mud.
I'm
ready for more mud.
We better get some mud flaps mounted on that vehicle. Man, oh man. But you're
But I
exactly.
took a shower today, so it's good. Like a shower helps take the mud off. Yes. That's actually, here's a tool, everybody.
Uh-huh.
I've talked about the elements. We talked about the shamanic quality. This is a very simple tool. No matter where you are on the planet, no matter what season it is, be with the elements. We have plants. If you don't have any live ones in your house, you can get outside. If you can't get outside and you have a plant, be with the water. The shower is the most incredible way to connect. I actually call it like a channeling space for me. There's an opportunity, you can meditate. I mean, yeah, we're not talking about, gallons of water down the drain, but here's the idea. When we allow ourselves to be held, when we step out of needing to be in charge, we will receive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful, timeless wisdom for it. Thank you for that, Ann. Finally, the best way for people to connect to you is through your website, Sacred Connection.
Actually, the website is the lotuspath.love.
Okay.
That is right. And you will receive my ebook, which is the chapter in the Sacred Connection book as well. Sacred Connection Community is a portal, and that's another way to be involved as a member, receiving the offerings that I have on a regular basis. And the Love Messenger, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I'm all in all the little media places, and I pop in and I offer wisdom, and I do channelings. Lotus shows up once a month. I have a love light chat through the Sacred Connection community space. Everything's available through the lotuspath.love, and it's my greatest joy to connect one-to-one, one-to-many, one to small groups, in person on the Idaho earth, virtually anywhere. I have built relationships in this virtual container, and I know the potency of being able to connect heart to heart. And that's my greatest joy.
And thank you for building that relationship with the World Awakenings audience and myself. And thank you to you, Ann, for being on. And thank you to Lotus for coming and joining us here. And it's been a beautiful conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been my honor to share with you and this beautiful community that you have gathered, and we're all in it together. I send you so much love.
This has been another episode of World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with host Carl Gruber, a certified law of attraction life coach. We welcome you to tune in to each and every episode of World Awakenings as we open your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to the truth of all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how much they play an all-important role in our moment-to-moment daily life. Much love and light to you, my friend, and thank you for tuning into World Awakenings.